Today, I want to introduce you to one of my favorite designers, Sandy Liang. If you've ever felt fashion is starting to look the same and you're tired of whatever garbage the algorithm is feeding you, this channel is all about finding the designers who are creating garments that are genuinely distinctive. Every episode, I'll introduce you to independent designers whose work is worth knowing, not because they're trending, but because they have a point of view, great craftsmanship, and design that deserve attention. Sandy Liang is a New York-based fashion designer who launched her namesake label in 2014 after graduating Parsons. She grew up in Queens, and her family owned a restaurant in Chinatown that she spent a lot of time at.
I'm Sandy Liang. I'm a fashion designer, and I live and work in the Lower East Side. I was probably like 1 or 2. I went to China to live with my grandma, and my grandma raised me up until pre-K. So I didn't even know that my home was New York until I came back. I was a step behind learning English and all that stuff.
She has talked heavily about being inspired by her childhood and these experiences, and you see that come through in her work.
My childhood is like constantly a source of inspiration to me. I feel like you access that core childhood part of you, and then it unlocks something within you that's like been covered by years of being an adult. I don't know, I try to protect that part of myself, and a lot of the things that I wasn't allowed to buy when I was little, as soon as I started making money for myself, I'm going on eBay and I'm buying all the stuff that I wasn't allowed to have. It makes me so happy, and it drives me, which is weird because I'm 32 years old, obsessed with these, childish things that were lost throughout the years. Your childhood is just like your pure, happy place. And so I'm trying to find that constantly through my work.
She particularly talks about the Chinese grandmas that she saw growing up and the impression that that left on her. She noticed that their style felt effortless, practical, and completely authentic. What I find interesting is that her inspiration doesn't come from traditional luxury fashion influences, but instead it's rooted in real people, real memories, and everyday life in New York.
My personal history and just what I was going through emotionally as a person, and like my own memories were what I found most pulling, I guess. Chinatown grandmas were like one of my core inspirations. Just the fact that they're so effortlessly cool and they all look great and they like don't care what they are wearing.
What makes Sandy Liang's work compelling is that she designs from emotion rather than trends. Her collections often explore nostalgia through childhood memories, school uniforms, neighborhood culture, ballet, and those little moments that have stayed with you long after you've grown up.
I'm obsessed with these childhood memories and these items and like toys and relics from my childhood. I keep my binoculars here because I like to go birding, or I like to it feels like I'm going through a graveyard of things that didn't make it. For a long time, I didn't know what to do with that. I've done so many of these in my life. I've been my own intern for so many years. I've played with nostalgia in a lot of different ways. I think when I first started using it as like my inspiration, it was hard to explain because it was kind of this weird concept of how can you just be inspired by your memories and how does that even translate into clothes? I'm always obsessed with matching jacket and skirt and this idea of like a princess, but she's different every season. Like at times she's more of an officey princess.
There's a soft femininity to her work, but it never feels overly precious. And she mixes sweetness with practicality, elegance with a little bit of downtown edge. I also love that her clothes are designed to be lived in. These aren't garments that only make sense on the runway. They're pieces that you can actually wear around New York, grabbing coffee, meeting friends, or heading to dinner. They feel elevated without feeling precious. One of the reasons Sandy Liang stands out is that she has built such a recognizable visual language. You'll notice details like bows, ribbon ties, ballet influences, quilted textures, playful proportions, and soft feminine silhouettes mixed with sportier elements. Another thing that makes her special is how personal the brand feels. Rather than reinventing herself every season, she's continuously building and expanding on the same creative world that she started with. Every collection feels connected to the last, and it's almost like another chapter in an ongoing story. In a fashion industry that often feels driven by whatever is happening that month, Sandy Liang has stayed remarkably consistent in her point of view. And I think that's one of the reasons why people really connect with her work. I think Sandy Liang is perfect for someone who loves feminine dressing but still wants to make it feel modern rather than overly romantic. If you're drawn to thoughtful details, beautiful construction, and clothing that feels playful without being costume-like, then Sandy Liang is worth exploring. Her pieces aren't inexpensive, but they're also not designed to be disposable. They're the kind of garments that you buy because you love them and you can imagine yourself wearing them for years. What keeps bringing me back to Sandy Liang is that she has this ongoing story that she's telling through her collections, and that she's not chasing trends or trying to reinvent herself every season. Instead, she's refining a very specific point of view that she has, and that consistency is something that I really admire. Now let's take a look at 3 of my favorite pieces currently in Sandy Liang's shop. The first is the Pharaoh jacket in red. It also comes in sand and cerulean plaid. But what immediately caught my eye is the color and the silhouette. It has this beautiful sculptural shape that feels feminine but still easy to wear. It's the kind of statement jacket that can completely transform a simple outfit like jeans and a white t-shirt, and it perfectly captures Sandy's ability to make everyday clothing feel special. Next is the Yolki dress, which I absolutely love because it balances nostalgia with something that feels completely modern. The playful print gives it a youthful, almost storybook quality, while the silhouette keeps it sophisticated. It's fun without feeling costume-like, and I think that is one of Sandy's biggest strengths. And finally, the Pilot Pinafore. This piece really shows how she mixes utility with femininity. The structured shape and thoughtful tailoring give it a polished feel, but it still has that signature softness that's become part of Sandy's design language. It's incredibly versatile. You could wear it alone if you're feeling sassy, or layer it over a fitted knit, a blouse, or even a simple tee, and it would work across multiple seasons. All 3 pieces feel different, but they share the same qualities that I admire about Sandy Liang's work. Thoughtful construction, a strong point of view, and clothing that feels personal. If you found this helpful and you're rediscovering fashion just like I am because you are tired of letting the algorithm decide what you should like, I'd love to have you here. Subscribe, and every week we'll explore independent designers creating thoughtful, distinctive clothing worth knowing.